It's kind of crazy how we ended up here today. But, hey, friend. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. But I realized that things go through seasons, things go through times. I've had a podcast for almost 3 years now. And damn, I've had a podcast for 3 years now. That's crazy. I've gone through what, 3 name changes, but I never lose sight of having one of the biggest, largest podcasts in the world because I can. What JT say? I'm that bitch because I motherfucking said so. Well, here we go. Welcome to Speaking of Spade. I'm Spade. Here's our weekly update. I normally do this on YouTube. This will be on YouTube, but I normally do this on live on YouTube. So we're just going to switch some things up today because of my physical world right now. But I needed to get this off my brain and off my heart because I heard it today. And I previously have said this, and it's just so crazy that the very day that Venus goes into Libra, this energy comes back up. So yesterday I got home. No, that's not true. Yeah, yesterday. No, yesterday I got home yesterday. No, I got home Saturday. And so yesterday was like my first day at home. And I kind of like got my cards out and I was like, oh, I haven't talked to my cards in a minute. I love divination. I love divination. So even if I'm not reading for anyone, even if I don't even have any like real questions, sometimes I just want to see what flies out. But yesterday I was like, what's the energy? Or what was my advice? That's something I've been asking Spirit a lot. And because of the week that I had, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Guys, I literally, God, it was just so crazy how this thing happened. So one day I woke up and I was going to work, and before I woke up at like 3, 4 in the morning, and I was chilling, I was reading my book, I was watching TV, and then before my alarm went off, I was like, I'm about to do something I haven't done in a while. Those are the exact words I said. I said, I'm about to do something that I haven't done in a while. And I got on my hands and my knees and I prayed. And I'm not going to tell you what I prayed for because that honestly does not have anything to do with what we're talking about. But one of the things I will say that I spoke with God about is that I spoke with him about my gratitude. I said, sometimes I don't know why you protect me the way you do. And I said, sometimes I don't even know what you protected me from. But what I do know is that I'm grateful for everything that you do. And one thing that I told him, I'm also tell you this. I said, one thing I told him, I said, I don't want to need you out of desperation. I want you around me out of love and purity. And when I said that, something clicked because I started crying. Yep, I started crying because begging in prayer is kind of useless. Like that is probably the worst thing you can do unless you just, you really going through something. It's like, all right, you calling on them to really, like do something for you. You know what I mean? But prayer doesn't need desperation. And so I said that, and at the very moment I said that, my day it started anytime my day starts off with God heavy, and I don't mean the normal prayer. I'm talking about anytime my day starts heavy in some worship, is because there's some type of entity or energy that's going to try to fuck with me. Yep, plain and simple. Now, every day, we wake up, we get our day started. As soon as I get to work, or as soon as, I start to get in the flow, I always tell God, thank you. I'm always like, thank you, God. Cause I talk openly in my home, and my home is my sanctuary. I feel like sometimes my routine of like getting up and praying is just not in the norm. You know what I'm saying? Because I openly talk to them. We talk all the time. Okay. And that's why I love divination, because I feel like it gives them like picture illustrated ways to talk to me, without, a song or, through a dream. Like we can actually talk like in like real time, like I can ask questions, they can answer it, whatever. So, and I will tell y'all it did. And it's so funny because I don't recognize my growth a lot of times. And I think that's something I talked to him about. I feel like I was like, maybe I'm not seeing, sometimes I feel like I don't see the work that I've done on myself. And, you know, and I think it's also because of results. And I had a situation basically happen, and this same situation kind of happened. I was thinking about this over and over and over again. Like, I think in the shower, I was thinking about a situation that happened with a coworker. And then it was just these microaggressions. And because I have empathy, and I tell y'all empathy sometimes is a myth, but I have empathy, and I'm also not bothered. Like I can detach from things to like leave my emotions out of it, that sometimes I don't take the initiative to CYA. And because we live in a world where people's intimidation can turn into victim mentality very quickly, I don't see it that way. So I'm just like, okay, whatever, whole time it's a whole plot against me. It's like, what the hell? And I didn't recognize my growth until God put me in situations where ignorance could be met with ignorance, or ignorance could be met with immaturity. Thank you. And so in this situation, silence truly was power. And also saying what you need to say and speaking your truth is power. And allowing people to get the consequences of their actions because of their lack of awareness is power. And I say this because I've said this for so long, that there's always more people involved in something. And so many people, they do things as a group. And I'll never forget this download that I had. I'll never forget this download. I was in a yellow dress on live on TikTok. And I remember saying that there's groups of people that know. And the biggest conversation with the groups of people is that they were trying to figure out how you knew. And they would try to communicate with you. And they would try to, just do these things to figure out where your headspace is at. And when I was doing my divination on yesterday, um, one of the cards that came out was like, I was like, what's the advice? It was like the Five of Cups and the Four of Swords. And I was like, wow, why is that? And it was like Ten of Swords, slap, boom. Like we're getting rid of closing ourselves off out of fear of consequences. A truth is a truth. Hence, speaking of Spade. A truth is a truth. We're going to call a spade a spade. Okay? I'm watching Queen Cups live. She did probably like 4 hours ago. I'm watching it, and she literally has the same download that I did, that I have repeatedly, repetitively, like it's been repetition, that people are in cahoots with shit. And if you don't speak your truth, and if you don't act in a way accordingly, you do nothing but fall into their loop of darkness. The illusion of people will be seen. One of the strongest places to be, and I know people gonna be like, why would you say that? It's the truth. The strongest place to be is in a place to see someone's darkness, accept them for their darkness, and treat them in their darkness. Those are the most transformative periods of your life. When you can sit with the darkness of someone and you can deal with the darkness of someone and you can treat them as their darkness, baby, that's a very transformative place. When you can treat someone as their darkness, you now, once again, as I've always said, you put yourself as a target because you are so unproblematic, okay? Or non-problematic. You don't cause problems. That's probably why the number one thing of why I don't cause problems, because I can see darkness and sit with darkness. And so I'm sitting with the cards or whatever, and I said, well, what's upcoming? I said, if we got to be in this Five of Cups, Four of Swords energy, that's basically surrendering to the feeling of being a victim, regret, and sadness, right? Five of Cups is change. So, the number five is change. Cups is emotions. There's a change over the emotions. There's a quick thought of what you could have did better, what you could have did, but what is done is already done. Okay. So I asked what was upcoming, which was so strange. The upcoming energy was the moon. And I said, And I said, okay, well, clarify what's hidden. The Five of Wands. I said, ooh, that's a little bit odd. Five again, change. Wands, action. You know what I heard? Motive. And the analogy that I got behind that was when um the universe, spirit, ancestors do things behind you to handle certain things. Like they watch somebody do something to you, and then behind the scenes, they do something to them. There's a lot of underlying chaos. And I'm going to say again, motive. I did something last week with this coworker that I assumed their intention. And someone called me out of it, and I really appreciated them for it, because why would you assume someone's intention? Why would you assume their intent of what they meant? Why would you assume that? Your assumption of someone's motive or their intention is based off of where your heart lies, not theirs. Let me say this again. Your assumption of someone's motive and their intention is based off of your heart space, not theirs. You know the saying, God knows my heart. You are not above God, so how would you know their heart? We're sitting in silence so we can hit the clock it. Clock it. Cuz what? The more that I sit with myself the last couple of weeks, and I've been telling, like, I need God next to me. The more he's next to me, the more we are becoming more understandable. The more we get close, the more my ancestors slip me secrets. The more they tell me, okay, do this. They give me more clear direction. The more I feel at peace. I've realized that my feeling of peace doesn't resonate with the collective, because I don't see peace in a outside type of typical way. I see peace in a sense of a state of mind, because a peaceful state of mind brings a very different environment. It brings a very different um you can alchemize. I realize that we have a false sense of a peace of a mind that comes from manipulation for an outcome and a goal. I'm realizing that we are going back to this manipulation and alchemy conversation this week, because the energy doesn't need you to manipulate it to get a certain goal. It needs you to alchemize off of it. This chaos that's happening within people and situations, it needs you to alchemize off of it. Read the room. You heard what you heard. You felt what you felt. Do what you need to do. Read the room. You felt what you felt. You heard what you heard. Do what you need to do. If you always know where your heart lies, your intention, your motive, You should never feel any type of regret or remorse by anything. I think my biggest fear by handling the situation with my coworker was the fact of that it was still going to be spun as if I was the problem. And this is what happened previously. It was still, people were having an issue with me. They were intimidated, they were bothered. And what they did was they were the original aggressor. And when they were the original aggressor, because you're picking, of course I'm going to defend myself because you're picking. Like you're reaching, you're making a mountain out of an ant pile, you know? And so because that's what I was met with in this situation, and that's why I've detached from so many things. And I realized that we detach out of a past reality or a past, life or just in general of where we're like, okay, let's just do something different. And the detachment has caused there to be an issue now because God is saying that detachment was out of avoidance. You're trying to avoid the inevitable of that it could be spun against you. And see, if we learn to alchemize and not manipulate, you can realize that this avoidance now has to be pushed to the front where it causes anxiety. So I explain this on my October wisdom. If you are a listener of my podcast and not my YouTube, I explained that when you are avoidant, you are two steps behind being secure. When you're avoidant, you have one step, which is to get to secure is anxiety. And I was met with that. So instead of me coping, instead of me being codependent, instead of me trying to create a false reality, pushing myself further and further and further away from being secure, I got anxious and I knew it. And God was pushing me and my friends were pushing me and my coworker, not my coworker, excuse me, my gentleman friend was pushing me. And they're not pushing me in the sense of like, oh, get your lick back, get your lick back. They're pushing me like, you need to stop downplaying this. You're being avoidant. You're trying to avoid this because of what? And it made me realize, wow, I'm avoiding something because the last time this happened, and see, but here's the thing. I could take ownership of the last time this happened because I allowed it to control me instead of me controlling it. I didn't use the silence. Even though I was calm, even though there weren't any profanity, at the end of the day, microaggression, when met with someone that is trying to manipulate a situation, is because they have a certain goal. And if I don't play into their goal, they've already lost the war. And see, that was something God was trying to show me, like my growth. He said, "You understand that you know how to win wars, right?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course." But I mean, something about this seems too familiar. And the energy just keeps coming up of familiarity. You know what I'm trying to say. Like there's this familiar energy that's coming around. It's coming around again, where something's familiar here. And it's like it's trying to see, are you going to avoid it? Are you going to push yourself to be anxious about it so you can reassure yourself so you can be in confidence and security? You cannot unsee darkness. Why can't you unsee your darkness? Because you understand the darkness in you. Okay? One thing about someone that knows that they can take things to hell is that they are aware they can take it to hell. They're aware of it. Once you are made aware of something, you cannot unsee it. So if you are made aware of your darkness, you can't unsee other people's darkness. This week, I feel like there's a lot of emotional turmoil But you know what's so crazy? It ain't even with you if you don't allow it. Most people, their shadow side, their darkness is seeping out. It's seeping out. Most people that are letting their darkness seep out, if I can be honest with you, they will feel very seen. The sun came out in some way. I can't remember how, but the sun card came out. Hold on. I want to see what else we can pull. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Because you know what was so crazy? Oh, here they go. So what was so crazy is the fact of that before I left, was it before I left? Or was it, oh, hold on. A card just fell. Let's see what that was. The Four of Wands. Very interesting. All right. So before I left, I remember I changed my I flipped my bed. And I flipped my bed because they always say turn your mattress every 6 months. And so I did that, I turned my mattress or whatever, and I, of course, feng shui, looked it up, and they were like, it's a change of energy. And I said, that's very interesting because I've been feeling that. I've been feeling there is an anticipation of a lie. And the lie could go multiple ways. The lie could go with you lying to yourself about where you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The lie could go with someone else's lie. But there is this anticipation that a lie is going to come out. And or that not just a lie. Well, yeah, a lie, but also a lie you could also have been telling yourself. It's like, oh, well, that's not gonna work. This isn't gonna work, and all of a sudden it's working. Like you're gonna see that you need to stop anticipating that you're wrong, or you need to stop anticipating that the worst is going to come. I think the best part about being in an energy to where you can accept your darkness is understanding that, like, darkness really can't move you. It might can have your mind thinking, but 9 times out of 10 is because you're picking up on energy. The red string of fate, the red string theory keeps coming up. I don't think you guys are understanding. It's not always about love. Um it's not always about a romantic, or it's not even about a positive thing in for you. Sometimes you are attached to someone because you're about to wake something up in them. You're about to be their consequence. You're about to be their karma. You're about to be their mirror. You are their illusion breaker. You are their generational breaker. You are there. It just makes me think of how we even connected. There's a red string between me and you. There's a red string between me and you, baby. So this week, I think you guys are gonna go. I think you guys are gonna meet some of your red string friends. You're gonna meet them there. And you know what the best part about the red string of fate is? That the red string of fate, the transfer of the energy between you two, is nothing but the truth. It won't take long. It won't take long for the motives, the energy, the truth. I told you guys there was a really good energy coming around about how, someone, it was, they're very loyal, they're very stable. But they weren't gonna, like, harass you, but they were gonna be very, like, forward moving, you know, their actions, their word, everything was gonna be very, excuse me, forward moving. I think we get very comfortable with the stalling, with the Queen of Swords coming out right now. We get very much so, like, it's funny, Ace of Swords poking out too. We get very hesitant with the, okay, well, where's the truth? With the Queen of Swords having her truth in her hand, and then the Ace of Swords coming out with the truth being met with you, that's nothing but clarity across the board of the mind. The overthinking that you feel between a situation, you're probably picking up on someone else's energy. Reassure yourself, and then they'll reassure themselves. Good or bad. You reassure yourself about something, the person will be reassuring themselves about something. They'll reveal something, they'll say something, they'll do something, you know? Trust me, it all aligns. Crazy part about it is it all aligns. I think one thing this week is going to show um is that at the end of the day, justice is based off of your contentment, you know? If you okay with what happened and you're okay with, how things unfold, then I mean, hey, it is what it is. But if you know that you should handle things accordingly, properly, like never be scared to press a charge on someone, never be scared to ask legal advice, never be scared to report something, never be scared of anything that was against you. Because when you think it's not that deep, it is. Especially during Venus and Libra. I really didn't see it that way because I'm like, nah, that don't even make sense. But oh shit, I get it. Because there's so much Scorpio energy. Scorpio is the power struggle. This month I told you guys was a huge power struggle. And people were having power struggles internally and they were projecting them externally because they were being met with someone that they deem as a threat to their inner power. Has nothing to do with you. It's the red string of fate. Okay? It's just the red string of fate. That's something that keeps coming out. I'm gonna grab one more card. We're gonna talk about the uh astrological events, and then we're gonna go. But I'm just saying, the moon again. The moon energy is here. I love how the swords come out with the Queen of Swords because that means that there is more intuitive energy and more of a receptive energy. When the truth is met, you deal with it accordingly. But the moon being here after the clarity's been, received, I think this is what I love about the moon coming out after all the clarity's been received. That means that you'll see the initial motive. You'll see the initial motive. You'll see the underlining. Yep. Knight of Cups. You will see the offer being presented to you. You'll see the night before the night comes, and you got to look the night in the eye under the armor. You'll know who's coming. One of the things about the Knight of Cups is the fact that they come with their armor already up. Like, if you ever look at the card, you can Google it, whatever. His hat is up. So it's showing like that I am, it's showing who they are, who is coming to present you with what you'll see. And you might not see it in the moment of like, before it happens, but once it happens, you'll be able to see people for exactly who they are. Don't allow yourself to, don't act like you don't see what you see. That's all I'm saying. Hold on. I want to see something real quick. Just give me like 2 seconds. Yep. Sorry if I'm making a lot of noise in your ear. I'm so sorry. Sorry. 1 second. I'm trying to see something because I know I'm not. So I just looked up every night card that I have. And every night card that I have, the gear is open. So like I said, you will see who is presenting you with whatever they're presenting you with. Because it's the Knight of Cups. The emotion that you need with the Hierophant popping out. God's work is at play, okay? One of the things that they had told me about this week is the fact that we will come out of limbo. We're going to come out of limbo. We will be coming out of limbo. That kind of rocky, wavy energy, we're going to come out of that. That's the only way that motives, intent, and character and shadows can be revealed. They can only be revealed once you get out of rocky waters. That Two of Pentacles energy, that kind of back and forth, kind of juggling, or kind of you have to come out of that. The water has to settle at some point. I love this. I don't know what I love more. I don't know if I love the fact of that. I can't tell you guys something, of course, that I haven't gone through, unless, it's like a direct download from spirit, but I went through it. And one thing I'm going to tell you is do everything that you're going to do, and do it with confidence. You will be checked. There will be people around you that know, and they will see the motive and the intent as well. They'll speak their truth. They'll support you. I told you the bridge between anxiety and um secure is reassurance. And so even those people reassuring you brings you to a very secure place. This week, I think there's more power in the silence. If you gonna talk that shit, do that shit. But there's a lot of power in it, because when you start your day of worship, when you start a day heavy in God's energy, you got to know that there's an attack somewhere. And the attack might not be what you think. I think the energy of this week, we automatically assume that it's just something bad happening, when in reality, if you just relax to the Five of Cups energy. I'm going to look up what the Five of Cups, the specific wording, because y'all know it's always a specific wording. So Five of Cups, meaning, we're just going to look it up. Five of Cups tarot generally means disappointment, regret, and loss, often because you are focusing on what has gone wrong rather than what is left. It signifies a time of sorrow and grief, but also carries a message of hope and healing by urging you to shift your perspective, acknowledge what remains, and learn from the experience. When reversed, the card can suggest healing, forgiveness, and moving on from the past mistakes and sorrow. So when I see, it's focusing on the negative. It's literally actionable advice. Take time to process your feelings, reflect on past experience, and allow yourself to grieve before trying to move forward. Okay? When I see that happening with the Four of Swords, there's a surrendering there. There's a surrendering that there is still a sense of, because if you look at the Five of Cups card, once again, these are illustrations of the words and the advice that they're telling me. The Five of Cups, there's three cups that are knocked over. The Three of Cups has to always do with three people. It's a group. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. The Three of Cups card is people, groups of people. The Five of Cups. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, so sorry. The Three of Cups is with people. The Two of Cups is another person, but there's still Two of Cups of balance. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So sorry. But that energy is coming up. So the Two of Cups is like, it's still understanding that now that the Three of Cups is over, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still duality, that there's still balance. And so when I look at the Five of Wands, okay? So we look at what the Five of Wands means. The Five of Wands in tarot readings signifies conflict, competition, and disagreements, but often in a way that is more minor and chaotic than destructive. You see what I'm saying? It ain't really that deep. It's five. Okay? Five just means change. It can represent petty arguments, a struggle for dominance, power struggle, or a clash of egos, but also a more positive and energetic brainstorming or playful rivalry. It can point to a situation that has reached a breaking point or a need for more discipline and focus. The meaning depends on whether it appears upright or reverse. So it says, competition and conflict, a competitive environment where people are arguing and struggling for dominance, minor annoyance, a situation with many small, irritating disagreements or problems working against each other. energetic challenge, an opportunity for growth through a challenge like sports, brainstorming, or a friendly rivalry. Ambition and focus, a push to commit with discipline and surpass previous limits. If that's what comes out with the moon, this is why I say it's motives, it's intentions. Those are things that are underlining. Those aren't things that are above the surface. Those aren't things that are huge. They're underlining. They're manipulation because of a specific goal. The Five of Cups with the Four of Swords gives me automatically alchemy. Because you don't dwell in it, you literally surrender to it. Utilize that energy this week, okay? So let's go ahead and get into the astrological facts. Oh goodness, y'all! Look, this is crazy that this is happening. So today is the 13th. Get ready to fall in love over the next few weeks as Venus enters charming Libra. With Venus at home in its ruling sign, it's the ideal time to attract the right partner, embrace romance, red string of fate. Okay. Also, Venus and Libra opposites Neptune and Aries. Neptune's Pisces energy, Pisces subconscious mind. Also, there's some weird shit going on with the dreams. I can't figure it out. I don't know what's going on. I had a very weird dream about someone, but I was coming to their aid. But they were kind of very defensive to my aid, or they were very like distant, like they didn't want it, like, but it was like, I don't know why, but I could tell there was a need of an aid. So I don't know about that. I'm going to pray about that for myself. But what was funny is that it was also an energy to where once again, it was another part of the dream where there was a coworker, and it was the cancer. He was a cancer, which was very weird, but there was also underlining energy there. Like there's all this underlining energy. I'm telling you guys, it's very under the surface. The moon is what's hidden. The moon is the only thing that eliminates things through the darkness. Okay. So it says, today isn't ideal for financial or romantic decisions as we might be easily swayed by smooth talkers during this deceptive aspect. Stay alert. Trust your instincts. Okay. Also today, Pluto goes direct, as literally we're talking about um power struggles. Pluto's being in Aquarius right now has been amazing. What I love about this is the fact of that this is why October was a month where you needed to step into anxious energy, that anxiety attachment, straight into security with the reassurance, okay? Because Aquarius are the water berries, they feel things too much. So when they feel things too much, they do either too much or they don't do anything at all out of a fight or flight response, okay? So right now with the power struggle, there's a power struggle within you of that. Am I doing too much or should I just not do anything? There, the scales are too in depth. Either I'm going to do too much or I'm not going to do anything. Those are the energies. Those are the polarities that we're working with, right now. Okay. With Pluto going direct, that means that there is now a halt. I mean, like a screw, like literally, have you ever seen a car that has where it stops for you, like a Tesla? It's like you were autopilot in a Tesla. The Tesla stops because it sees danger or it marks something as being dangerous. That's what Pluto going direct is doing. So instead of rerouting around the danger, now you literally take an immediate stop at it. And so when a car is brought to an immediate stop, it now brings you to be very alert. Okay, so this transit happening is bringing an alert to everyone that you can avoid the reason of your power struggle. You cannot avoid these things. The avoidance, everything you avoid will now be pushed to anxious. So you will see how people act under their anxiety. Most people suppress their anxiety through avoidance, right? And then it creates them to spiral down in their codependency. They find something to cope with, and then they create another reality. All of that is coming to a huge halt. Skrrr. Like, and I just keep like seeing someone like push their brakes. I keep seeing this commercial. It's about a Toyota where the mom is like in this, she's in this daydream about her son growing up, and then there's a car, and her car stops, which brings her back to reality. And the little statement that it says is that you forget about yourself. She was so thinking about her son, she wasn't thinking about herself and almost caused a car accident. That's the type of energy that we're in. It even says, as we transition into the cold winter months, the plan of transformation inspires us to reflect on our community and how we can enhance it during this harvest season. It's the perfect time for volunteering, collaborating with neighbors, and letting go of what no longer serves us. Now, when it says community, red string of fate. Okay? On the 14th, this is a very active week. I love it. I really do. Um, Venus and Libra trine Uranus and Gemini. Expect the unexpected. This adventurous energy encourages you to embrace change. And once again, Five of Swords, Five of Cups. Change. These aren't major changes, but they're minor changes, or excuse me, they're minor challenges to show you how much you have changed. Okay. These changes that are happening are literally just from your reassurance and your um validation. Okay. These are literally your own external. This isn't a need for external validation. This is external validation that you are being receptive of. This is your own internal validation. It's external because of the things that are happening, but it's your own internal validation of how much you've grown, how positive you are, your growth, your mindset shift, your dynamics. You know, at the beginning I was telling you guys about learning certain things when it comes to a peace of mind is what creates your reality to be different. It's not about you changing your reality and then everything changes within you. No, your mind changes, you become more confident. The reality reflects that confidence. Okay, so that anticipation of that lie is unnecessary. All right, so and also remember Uranus ruled by Aquarius, it's in Gemini. Gemini is the lovers. So handling things from your heart space, not other people's heart space. That's how you will prosper this week. Okay, and with Venus being in its home sign, Libra once again has to do with community. Do you see how this is affecting our community? I'm not infected. I got papers to prove I'm not infected. So, it's literally telling you that this is surrounding other people, okay? Like I don't know how much more to tell y'all that it includes other people. Your fight won't be with self. Your fight will include other people. So, if you have the right people around you, they'll reassure you. You'll get that, that opening or that validation without you even having to do too much. I think that's the best part of the energy. So just keep that in mind, okay? It says this adventurous energy encourages you to embrace change and step out of your comfort zone. Whether you're trying a new style or meeting new people, surround yourself with beauty and enjoy the journey. You never know what delightful surprises await. Also, once again, Venus and Libra trines Pluto and Aquarius. Today is all about sharing the love. This positive energy encourages us to seek help and express our feelings openly. Remember, no one gets where they are going alone. Once again, this is all about community. And if I've always told you guys that if it's all about community, that means that it's what? Always about timing. Timing is key this week. Let me say this again. Timing is key this week. So whatever you feel you miss, whatever you feel like you didn't get, just know that it goes with something directly. Okay? It's all timing. Okay? This week is all about timing. If you think something came too early, no. If you think you did something, you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? Trust me, everything is about timing. Okay? On the 16th, the Sun in Libra squares Jupiter in Cancer. Today might feel like a double-edged sword as we navigate between logic and deep emotions. Keep your feelings in check. Avoid taking on too much at once. Pace yourself. timing. It's all about timing. Okay? Um, One more event. Mercury in Scorpio conjuncts Mars in Scorpio. This is I love when this energy in Scorpio hits. Okay, because one thing about it, it says today is an ideal for making big power moves. As we are inspired to strategize and pursue our deepest ambitions, speak with confidence, make your motivations known. This is amazing time to understand that they are going to put it out on the table for you. If you felt like you weren't doing enough, if you felt like things weren't happening the way you thought they were going to happen, I just want you to understand, sweetie, timing. Okay. When I tell you guys, so many of you feel lost because you're like, okay, well, I don't really see any progression. I'm not really sure what I need to do more of. And they're like, and it's radio silence. There's a lot of radio silence because this is honestly where you learn the most. You see things clearly. This week is well, not this week specifically, but it kind of starts because you're going to understand timing, people, and how timing goes into people and how people go into, you know, strategies. And I told you guys, ask God, what strategy should you use during different things that come across or come up to you, or, you know, this week and this month. It was all about a different strategy. It was all about a different strategy. So you guys will see, you know, that what you're doing isn't in vain. You'll see that there's nothing that you're doing that doesn't go hand in hand with something else. It all aligns. All of it. Every single part of it, it aligns. Okay? So keep that in mind because we have a new moon coming up in Libra. On the 21st. I'm not going to talk too much about it because that's a whole nother energy that we'll be pursuing. Yes, I said pursuing. Yeah, this new moon that's coming up needs a bit of pursuing. Venus is in Libra. The new moon is in Libra. Libras are very much so spoil me. Venus, any type of Venusian energy, people that have Taurus, or Libra deep in them, they want to be spoiled. Life really is met with doing what they say. Honestly and truthfully, it exudes love from you to them and them to you. The pleasure that they want from you is because they also want to give it back. There's an energy of reciprocation that's coming up also, that the lack of reciprocation between situations has been coming from a fear that needs to stop being replayed. Either you're going to deal with this shit in the situations or you're not at all. Either you're going to process those emotions or you're not going to process them at all. A lot of things are coming up very repetitively because you need to let the narrative go. Let the narrative go. The shit happened already. You can't go back. Let the narrative go. And I'm saying this because I know when I listen to this, I'm going to feel like I'm taking a hit at myself, a huge dagger, because it's the truth. Let the shit go. Let it go. So I love you. This was Speaking of Spade. I'm Spade. I'll see you guys next week. Mwah.